Did you know that a Formula One track built with just $8.5 million has become completely useless due to a small failure, while an airport costing $7 billion was sold for just $9,000? Today, you'll learn about some of the world's mega projects that cost billions of dollars to build, but today no one even wants to use them. So let's get started. Number 5. Valencia Street Circuit. This is the Formula One street racing track, which was once famous worldwide as the Valencia Street Circuit. Built for 100 million euros, or $8.5 million, in just 1 year in the Spanish city of Valencia. This track seemed very attractive at first. Not only did it pass through the city's port, but its 140-meter section was also built over a beautiful swing bridge. Seeing the advanced features of this track, Formula One announced that it would host European Grand Prix events here for 7 years, from 2008 to 2014. Everyone was eagerly waiting for the races to take place on this new track. However, when the first race took place here in 2008, the reality became clear. Racing drivers complained that the design of this track was such that there was no opportunity to overtake. The track had 14 tight corners, but before these corners, the roads were so straight that racing cars could reach speeds of up to 320 kilometers per hour. In such sections, the chances of overtaking were very slim, and many accidents occurred. Although Formula One had booked this Valencia Street Circuit for 7 years, it broke the contract after just 5 years. Since then, this street circuit has become like the set of a haunted film. Broken light poles, damaged fences, and wild bushes growing around the track. Nearby, there is even water-filled sections that have been left untouched for years. This is clear proof that this mega project has turned into a complete failure. Number 4. Ciudad Real Central Airport. Spain is a part of Europe that is considered a hotspot for tourists. Every year, around 8 million tourists visit here, most of whom prefer to land in the capital, Madrid. But the problem arose because Madrid's current airport capacity was only 7 million, while 8 million people were arriving. To solve this, the decision was made to build another airport, Ciudad Real Central Airport, at the cost of $1.2 billion. This new airport was meant to alleviate the load on Madrid's main airport. But when it started operating in 2009, the result was disastrous. This new airport, although built, was not centrally located as expected. Passengers had to travel 30 kilometers to reach the airport after landing. This led to poor commercial flights, and within just 2 years of opening, it became a ghost town. Although millions of dollars were still spent annually to operate the airport, very few passengers used it. In 2013, decision was made to sell the airport, but no one was interested in purchasing it. Finally, in 2019, this airport, which had cost $95 billion to build, was sold for just $12,000, or about $9,000. Number 3. Interstate ST Highway. In Hawaii, there is a city called Honolulu, and it has a 26-kilometer-long highway that runs through beautiful mountains. The view from here is so mesmerizing that many people stop their cars and take pictures, which often leads to traffic jams. This highway, known as the Interstate ST Highway, is beautiful, but it has been highly controversial. The need for this highway arose in 1962, when traveling between 2 U.S. Navy bases in the area became difficult. However, when the construction of this highway was announced, local residents opposed it, as they didn't want their beautiful city to be spoiled just to connect 2 military bases. This issue escalated to such an extent that the construction work was halted for 26 years. But in 1999, due to changes in environmental laws, the construction was forcibly resumed. After 18 years of construction, this highway was opened in 1997. Normally, roads are built by cutting through mountains, but in this case, the highway was constructed on large supporting pillars to preserve the landscape. This led to an increase in the project's costs. Initially, the project was estimated to cost $250 million, but it ended up costing $1.3 billion. This means that just 1 kilometer of this highway cost around $370 million. Despite this, after a 37-year wait, the highway is barely used. Many locals avoid it because they believe the government destroyed their sacred sites during construction, which is why the highway remains underutilized. Number 2. Cost City. This is an old capital city located on the coast, home to 7 million people, and it was once believed that the city couldn't expand any further. In 2002, a military leader in Myanmar secretly began building a new city. His plan was to shift the country's capital to this new city. Myanmar wasn't the first country to do this. Thailand, Afghanistan, and Pakistan had already shifted their capitals. In 2005, the military leaders suddenly announced that they wanted to change the capital, naming it Naypyidaw. This new capital was built far from the sea in the center of Myanmar and cost a total of $4 billion. The city was filled with everything that would attract people, such as 20-lane highways, luxury hotels, golf courses, museums, shopping malls, and even the famous street food from the old capital. But there was one very important thing missing: people. The new capital had everything except residents. Only government employees and bureaucrats lived there. And despite having an international airport that could handle 35 million passengers, it only saw around 10 to 12 passengers at a time. Hotels and shopping complexes were deserted, making the city appear ghostly. The entire city, built at a cost of $300 billion, now presents a deserted and eerie atmosphere. Number 1. Yucca Mountain. If nuclear waste is not stored properly, it can cause so much damage that it's hard to imagine. Normally, nuclear waste from across the United States is stored in remote locations. But in 2002, the U.S. decided to build a 300-meter deep tunnel in Yucca Mountain, Nevada, to store all the country's nuclear waste. This plan seemed ideal at first, but residents of Nevada strongly opposed it, arguing that they didn't understand why all the waste had to be stored in their state when there were no nuclear plants there. The issue went to court for many years, but during President Obama's time in office, it was decided that nuclear waste would not be stored in Yucca Mountain. Despite spending $17 billion on this project, this site has now become a place where no one even wants to go near.